So Arsenal looking to sign a striker in January. We don't have a lot of money to spend, and therefore we need a cheaper option, and that could lead us to Sahu Guirassy at VfB Stuttgart. Now, he's one of the players that are really linked with a couple of clubs at the moment: Tottenham, West Ham, Manchester United, and he's one of the players that are really in form in Europe right now. In this video, we're going to be diving into what is the profile of Sahu Guirassy and why Arsenal do not have a striker like him, and probably for around 17.5 million euros in his release clause, Arsenal should sign Sahu Guirassy in January or even in the summer. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you so much for keeping up with the videos. Let me know in the comment box below what do you think about Sahu Guirassy. Now, players from the German Bundesliga have struggled a little bit to cope up with the demands of the Premier League, but him being African could actually mean he's got the ability to adapt to the pressure and intensity of the Premier League. Let me know what you think about him. He's 27. What do you think about that age? And this is his second season in the German Bundesliga, and he's really scoring goals. 11 last campaign, 17 so far this campaign. He's really running riot. Would you love to see Sahu Guirassy at Arsenal this season? Right, so Sahu Guirassy, 27 years of age. He comes in from Guinea. He also has citizenship of France, but currently he's representing Guinea in football. And he's spent 2 seasons in the German Bundesliga. Now, last campaign was his first season. He scored 11 goals in 22 appearances. But this is the season that is actually making the headlines and making the news around Europe. Now, he scored 17 goals in 14 games. He also holds the record now for the biggest number of goals or highest number of goals scored by a player in 7 games in the German Bundesliga, and that is 13. So he's scored more goals than Robert Lewandowski. He's scored more goals than Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in the first 7 games of the German Bundesliga. And this is not to actually hype his profile, but when you look at him as a player and you look at the strikers at Arsenal, we really have wrongly defined the role and the position of a striker. I really think strikers like Guirassy, strikers like Lewandowski, strikers like Aubameyang, that is the real definition of a striker profile. But the likes of Edin Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus, although they are very good forwards and you can categorize them in the same tent and subset as forwards, when we talk about strikers, they actually do not qualify. So why do I think Guirassy is a good signing? And who is Guirassy? So his name is in full is Guirassy. Like I said, he comes from Guinea. His market value at the moment is around 40 million euros, but he has a release clause that will be active in the summer for around 17.5 million euros. Now, Fabrizio says that Bayern are looking to capitalize on that. So if Arsenal are going to sign him, we might need to sign him earlier in January, or maybe act a little bit quicker in the summer. His current contract runs down in 2026, and he's a tall guy, like really, really tall, 1.8 centimeters tall. That means that aerial prowess is not one of his problems. He's got the ability to score for you headers. He's got the ability to win aerial duels as well. But one thing that we don't have, that we are trying to find in Kai Havertz, is the ability to have a target man on the pitch. So if you sign a player like Sahu Guirassy, tall, you can play that ball forward, like the likes of Ramsdale have a very good ball playing ability. The likes of Raya as well have a very good ball playing ability. You just play that ball into a player like Guirassy, and he will get there. He will absolutely get there and win the area duels because he's a very, very tall player. So in terms of profile, I want you to look at Guirassy as Beto at Everton. Now he's scoring more goals than Beto, probably because he's not in the Premier League. But I want you to look at him in that profile. Beto, Ivan Toney, Victor Osimhen. That is the kind of player he is. That is his profile. He doesn't stay in the penalty area all the time, so he'll come out, he'll engage in play, and he's one of those strikers that can actually create a couple of chances as well for other players to score or even get into the game. So that is his profile. Now, why do I like him? And I've seen him for I think the last 3 hours on YouTube. I've looked at his profile as well, and I've been impressed with the difference he has between him and all the strikers at Arsenal. So first and foremost, he is a fox in the box. This is something Arsenal do not have. This is something that we are looking for. When you look at all the strikers and all the big names in the striking world, they are foxes in the box. Benzema, Robert Lewandowski, the likes of Harry Kane, the likes of Erling Haaland. As a striker, the first thing you've got to do is get yourself in the penalty area, because that is your duty station. That is where you score the goals. That is where all your action happens, and that is why you sign for a club, to score goals for them. But when you look at Guirassy and you compare him to Eddie Nketiah and you compare him to Gabriel Jesus, they are very different profiles and they're very different definitions of strikers. Guirassy for me is a typical number 9. For me, for Gabriel Jesus, you'd love to have him in the side. He's more of an Aguero who doesn't like to be in the penalty area, who doesn't want to score goals. But Aguero, of course, elite goal scorer, elite striker. But for me, if Arsenal get a player like Guirassy, we have solved one of our problems. The crosses and the chances that go into the penalty area without a striker to tap them in, without a number 9 to actually capitalize. And again, Gabriel Jesus is phenomenal at pressing, is phenomenal at pressurizing the defenders and creating all that chaos, up top. I don't think defenders like Gabriel Jesus. He runs all the time. He's a beast up front. But is he eventually going to score the goals? Is he eventually going to punish you when you make a mistake? He's missed one of the biggest chances I've ever seen an Arsenal player miss against Tottenham this season. Like, he should have capitalized on that. No question about that. So for me, Guirassy, that is the first thing you love about him, and that's the first thing you bring to Arsenal: a fox in the box, someone that is always going to be in the penalty area, someone you're going to target to score goals for you. We've done it with Robin van Persie and Arsene Wenger. It worked. We've done it with Olivier Giroud. It worked. We've done it with Thierry Henry. It worked. You always need to have a player in the penalty area. I mean, if you do not have one, then goals are going to be a problem, and goals are a problem at Arsenal. Now, the second thing you need to focus about him, or you need to notice about Guirassy, is the calm, composed finishing. And again, that is something that we do not have at the club. That is something that Mikel Arteta knows. He needs to go to the market, and that's where the solution is. Against Liverpool, Arsenal had one-touch chances, like one touch to score chances, and we missed all of them. Kai Havertz takes a lot of time, and he panics a lot in front of goal. So does Reece Nelson, so did Martin Odegaard, and so did Saka. So you need a player who's calm, but composed, and is clinical. And I think that is what we're looking for at the moment. That is what we are lacking. I will question Saka's decision making. I will question Odegaard's decision-making at times in goal-scoring positions, but they've done well. They've given Arsenal a 40-point advantage against so many clubs out there. And when we come back from the break, Arsenal will score goals again. Arsenal will create chances again, and we will finish again. But who is the lead guy that is supposed to be scoring the goals? That's Eddie Nketiah. That's Gabriel Jesus. And that is the wrong profile. So a calm, composed finisher. It's the 89th minute. Your striker is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. At Arsenal right now, who do I want to see in that situation? 89 minutes, 0-0. Which one player would I want to see 1v1 with the goalkeeper to win us the game? I might go with Gabriel Martinelli, but he's not really scored goals this campaign, right? But he's a good finisher. 1v1, not Martin Odegaard. Definitely not Martin Odegaard. So we need that one player that you can easily define. If it's 1v1 with a goalkeeper and you have a player like Guirassy, you have 8 times out of 10 that is going to go into the back of the net. Now, I think this one is a point that Mikel Arteta really loves in forwards, is the hold-up play. And Gabriel Jesus, in terms of hold-up play, is one of the best strikers in the world at that. I'm not even going to lie. I don't think Guirassy is better. But because he's got that, physical structure and the physical attributes, he's taller, he's a little bit masculine, and, he will give defenders a problem. I don't think you can easily bully him in terms of holding up play. And at times we need to switch it up. At times we need to change it. At times, listen, clubs find us very predictable. That is the truth. At times, Arsenal are very predictable. You look at the way we distribute, you look at the way we are looking to finish, and every single pattern the clubs have actually landed. So Sahu Guirassy maybe could give you that different kind of feel. The problem I have with Kai Havertz playing up top, you can pump that ball forward and he will receive it. But he can run the channels as well. And Sahu Guirassy will run the channels for you as well. But the difference between these two is, as a striker, chances are really going to fall to you. You're like a magnet. You're going to attract the ball into the penalty area from your teammates. And that's where the difference is, right? He's good at hold-up play, but can finish his chances. Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz are good at hold-up play, but they can't finish what is on their plate. With Eddie Nketiah, I don't think he's good at hold-up play. I think he's good at running in behind and running off the shoulder, right? So I think with hold-up play, you could bring him in. He could serve as a backup to Gabriel Jesus and also an alternative when things are actually not going our way and according to plan. Now, the other thing, I've talked about it already, he's a more clinical finisher, and that's what Arsenal fans are looking for. Like, we've been linked to Solanke, we've been linked to all these strikers that actually don't make any sense, but what we are looking for is a clinical finisher, someone who can finish chances. Now, if he scored 17 in 14 games, that actually defines the kind of striker he is. At Arsenal right now, our top scorer in the Premier League is Saka. 6 goals, 20 games. That is nowhere near the standards we need as a club. That is nowhere near the standards that the Premier League demand. Now, just imagine Wolverhampton Wanderers have a striker that has scored the same number of goals or even better than Arsenal. And that is not even the end of the story, because the likes of Aston Villa, the likes of Brentford have strikers that are better than Arsenal strikers, right? So for me, Mikel has just got to understand that. Look at the players around you, look at the teams around you, and ask yourself, am my team better? Is this lot better than what other managers have, than what other teams have? If not that, then you've got to find a solution. So Guirassy, more clinical, more composed, and a very, very good finisher there for you. I've talked about the physical presence, and it is something that Mikel likes. I mean, if he's looking at Amadou Onana, he has signed Declan Rice, he has William Saliba and Gabriel. He's looking to make Arsenal bigger, but also more physical, and a team that is hard to bully off the ball, a team that is hard to lose possession and win possession against. And that is actually very good. I mean, when you go in the Champions League, you're going to meet difficult teams. Like you meet every Real Madrid with Tchouaméni in midfield, but the rest of their players are actually also kind of big, right? They're not really masculine, really physical, but they're kind of big. You just don't bully them off the ball. It's the same thing with Bayern, it's the same thing with PSG. So Sahu Guirassy, and I'm looking at him in terms of the Champions League, he would be a massive addition, a massive asset if Arsenal would actually get him. And those tall aerial balls, because he's taller than any other striker we have, we could actually capitalize on that. Now, Arsenal have conceded a couple of goals in set-piece situations, but the question is, how many are we scoring, right? I do not care if Arsenal have scored 4 and are topping the charts. We are getting more free kicks because Saka is one of the most fouled players in the Premier League. We're getting more corners than any other player in any other team because our players are really going to put defenders in difficult situations. But what is the end story to those corners? What is this end story to those free kicks? Are teams really happy to give away free kicks in dangerous areas, knowing that Arsenal really cannot capitalize on aerial balls? Are teams really happy to give away corners, knowing that Arsenal cannot capitalize on those corners? So for me, when we go out to look for a striker, look for someone tall, look for a profile that is good in the air, look for a profile that is really, really proficient at scoring headed goals. That could be Sahu Guirassy. So that is the profile of Sahu Guirassy, and that is the advantage of having him over Eddie Nketiah, over having Gabriel Jesus, or over having I don't know what kind of strikers Arsenal are looking at, but I think he's really a target and an option. Now, The interesting part is the price. 17.5 million euros release clause that could be activated in the summer. What that means is that if Stuttgart don't want to lose money, if they want to make more money, they could sell him for 20, 25 or even 35 million right in January. Now, Arsenal can negotiate with them and probably say, listen, you're going to lose him in the summer for 17.5. Bayern want him. Manchester United and West Ham want him. You're not going to retain him. How about we give you an extra 5 million and then you give us Sahu Guirassy? And that would be a good deal. Now, whether Stuttgart want to keep him and continue enjoying that good season they're enjoying in the German Bundesliga or get the money, that will depend on them. But for me, according to what I've seen with clubs, like Fiorentina have done it in January, they've sold Dusan Vlahovic and they've continued with life. So I would still think, Stuttgart would sell Sahu Guirassy. That is his profile. That is what I think about him. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment box below. Make sure you check out the video I've done with Glenn on the Cossy's Arsenal podcast. We've done a recap of all the players Arsenal linked with, an analysis on each of them.